So hi everyone, this is Dinesh Sharma and in this class we have a reading by Sourav Gupta from JNK, and these are fixed expressions for building fluency. I mean, these expressions are such expressions that we use daily, knowingly or unknowingly in our communication. And if we have a good command over these words, our day-to-day communication becomes very impressive and we get respect and honor everywhere for our command over language. So I request Saurav to come forward and read these words for me. Saurav, over to you.
Yes, fixed expressions for building fluency during the day, at night, in the meantime, in the few plus noun, for the time being, a remote chance. It's not likely that to quit a job, to remember to plus in, to forget to, for the most part, many years ago. It's been long time since, in my opinion, under given the circumstances, I'm taken aback by that to get the bill at full speed, to take one's time plus gerund, to take responsibility for, to get be accustomed used to, for the sake of, in order to hurry up and to speed up, to slow down, to have money saved up, to be bored out of one's mind, out in the open, in secret, to be sure, certain of, wide open, shut tight, the face that, to say to say the least, watch out, to be in trouble, sorry to bother, trouble you, but you mind if to go wrong, go away, let's going to be short, missing a something is missing in the middle of the night, to be mistaken about, let's check it out, to make sure that, to be taken by surprise, to strongly disagree, to decide between, to make up one's mind, to have plans. It isn't worth it. It's not worth the trouble to take part in something, to have trouble on the way to have time for something for free, to my amazement, to keep in mind that, to relate to with Sabi, with somebody, to keep something, to have a hunch that I can't help, to keep something up to date, to have feelings for, to keep somebody informed, to keep under control, to keep track of, for just a time word, to show up for, to show up early, late, to have a snack, to have a knack for, to be partial to do away with, for example, to go over something, to manage to take note of, to take notice of, to make up for something, to put stock in, to save up for. At the time, I back when back then, for the record, for as long as I can remember, to lose sleep over. Oh come on, I am just kidding. For what it's worth, to be right, to be wrong, to be right about, to be wrong about, tit for tat, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, to have a strong need for, to be nervous about, to be jealous of, to be in doubt of. If I were you, if I were in your shoes, it bothers me that, to know and to get involved with, to meddle in somebody business, to meddle in somebody affairs, something else, somewhere else, someone else, something more, to be a good deal of, to be a good idea, to be disgusted with, to be interested in, enough of, enough to worry about something, to be concerned with, to take something into consideration, to withhold information, to reach understanding, to reach to an agreement, to come to an agreement, to come to the conclusion that, to strike a compromise, to make friends with, to take, to stand for, to stand up against, once in a while, to start to, to stop quit, to be good for, to be qualified to go well with, to, to snack on something, to get ready for with all one's might, to be afraid of out of emotion, to lose track of, to have a taste for, lack of, tendency for, tendency towards, tendency to sort out behind somebody's back without warning, for fun, to look up to somebody, to look down on somebody, to frown up something, to turn on, to turn off, to get away with something in all honesty, to tell the truth, to tell a lie, to brag about, to talk trash about somebody, to help out with something, to give comfort to mistake somebody to mistake somebody for concrete details, to be comfortable with something, to hint us at something, to be annoyed by something, to save the best for last, first of all, in the future, in the past. Right now, the fast few time word, to change one's mind, to switch noun with somebody, to advise against something, to give good advice, to give bad advice, a detailed explanation. I bet that the kind of thing that, as an example of an unbiased opinion about a beautiful view, to turn into hand in current events. It all happened so suddenly. To bring about, to catch up with, to ask for help, to make a sound, to be located in, to be located at, to be located etc. A change of noun, to find out about, to leave for, in memory of, before long, to get ripped off, to get ripped by, to go for a ride, to go for a walk. Why don't we? To get ahead of oneself, to be running ahead, to be running behind. I used to fall apart, to fall off. In Daniel, to get a second chance, one more time, once more. To beg for, it goes without saying that to hold one breath, out of breath, you're gonna make it. Rest assured that to get hold of something, to do one's duty in pain, to lead astray, to have a stomach ache, to have a headache, to have a stomach ache, spare change, pocket money, to take a break, to take a rest, time to kill, to look like in in mint condition, in good condition, in bad condition, in power, to rise to power, to get a raise. The sun comes up, goes down. The sun comes up, goes down. To have a flat tire, to get a flat tire, to break up with somebody, to take off, to put on down on one's luck, to wake up, to fall asleep, to have no idea about, to talk somebody out of something. It makes no sense. To say goodbye, the right way, the wrong way. It's for the best that someday, to be enough, to be not enough. Here's to leave behind. You had better. You pack once back to take forever. One second. It seems like to take notes, to come for a visit, to take pictures, to make music. First time first. First things first, to run into something, to give in, to have a hangover under one's breath, to smell like, to scream at somebody, to yell at somebody, every minute, every moment, every day, every week, every month, once, once, twice per, right before one side, to act as if, to be happy, to be pleased, to be happy about, to be pleased about, to be happy with, to be pleased with, otherwise off road, to get turn, to get off, to turn off, to be related to have a good memory, a sense of, hard to find, easy to find, in jail, in prison, to make progress, to work on, to find one way, to get lost, no one, no more, no anymore, to sleep and fall on the weekend, to have a sick day, to take a sick day, no time for, in, of touch with, out of touch with, to lose control of, out of reach, within reach, to spend the time, to spend the time, to be in luck, a table for, to take it easy, to feel wronged, to come by, to stop by, to come at, to stop at, to pass through, a friends of mine, a friends of his, one of my, a little, a lot, in pieces, on the mend, to return the favor, to do a favor for, within range, out of area, out of the area, small town, big city, to run up, to get over, few and far between, to look into something, to feel sorry for, to pretend to let go of something, to feel sorry for, to have fun, to have a good time, to have a bad time, good night, to wish someone well, to set free, let go, call me, scared to death, to go crazy, to have problem with, to take turns or to take turns at, to the rest of, to go for a hike all night long, to try to be confused about this. There's a chance that this is between you and me, him or him and her. How come to make a fuss over, to know about, to know how to, by any means necessary, in depth to, in indebted to, a pile of, to make good money all over town, all around town, out of town, to make something seriously at face value by law, according to put up with something, to deal with, to make clear, in bed, at the table, to trust in somebody, topic of conversation, to have faith in, to take effect, to sign up for, in connection with, to come across as, to get a point assess, to be ignorant of, in the aftermath of, for no reason, to crash into, to get something into an accident, in an emergency, to have the feeling that, to get the feeling that, to have the courage to, a wide variety of, on a date to go on a date, to be married, engaged to, it's common sense, to keep a secret, to be in conflict with, compared to compared with, to stop for, on the side of the road, to feel threatened, to score a goal, to apply for a job, really, out for dinner, out for lunch, to fall in love with, in alphabetical order, to fail at, to fail at, it sounds good, it sounds bad, a turn for the worse, to make a difference, to succeed at, to be kicked out of, to be good at, to be bad at, to be based on, to refrain from, in the way of, to be ashamed of, to be embarrassed by, in in a fashion style, out of fashion style, to take over, in that case, even in the event that, a long way to go, to sing to somebody, to think about, not quite as, in silence, in compliance with, to take care of, to be impressed with, to be impressed by, to take advantage of, on a diet, to be homesick, frozen food, fresh food on ice, on tape, to be, to hope for, to give credit to disobey others as usual, to allow somebody, to put emphasis on, to place emphasis on, for dinner for breakfast, the cause for a strange turn of events, to make known that, to work as a team, to insist on plenty of, at midnight, at noon, to be close nearby, to be nearby, to be close, to offer a solution, to travel the world, to check for, that's what I thought, to be cut off, to be prejudiced toward, in favor of, more or less, too much with care, I suppose that up to, it's up to you, it's up to you, when it comes to show weakness, to show strength, to give credit to take credit for, to be aware of, to drive somebody crazy under stress. It doesn't matter that, to take offense, to have the courage to come to the rescue of somebody on purpose, to do the right thing, to do the wrong thing, to make a decision, to see what happens, to talk to talk at great length about, to raise taxes, to raise taxes, to lower taxes, to raise prices, to lower prices, to pay attention to, for the benefit of, in the short term, in the long term, in harm's way, as a matter of fact, in demand, a shortage of, to take the blame for, to suffer the consequences for, to be attracted to the whole story, the whole picture, to be drawn toward, to be drawn, to give somebody of, to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, to be of assistance, to be of assistance with the exception of to take place, to take sides for profit, to give something a try, to give to give something a try. You don't get it, to go blind, to turn a blind eye to the best of my knowledge, to a certain degree, to a certain extent, to go bankrupt without a doubt, to believe in something, to focus on something, to be crazy about something, to handle something well, to handle something badly, in a bind, in a bind, to put into caution, to get dressed, to put on, to take off, paralyzed with fear, for the greater good, for the greater good. It will be do you some, it will do you some good to be in a rage, to get worked up, to confuse something with something else, to trip over something in offline, out of line, sense of decency, right to privacy under attack, to take inventory, to make a list, to be charged with, to be guilty, to put in jail, to put in prison, to be in charge, to take charge, to sentence somebody to life in prison, the death penalty, to be acquitted, to be acquitted, to face fact, to be ignorant of the reality is what about, who is who is to blame, at fault, at risk, to look out over, to dream of, to dream about, to sympathize with, to sim- to take a liking to have a grasp of, never again, to take it easy, to take it slow once again, for lack of better words, to play along with, to show one's true color at best on the air, to to settle the matter once and for all, to decline an invitation, to accept an invitation, to refuse to live up to something, to make something better, to make something worse, to leave something alone, drop it. The damage is done. To be in of luck, to be in of luck, to be out of luck, fame and fortune, to have high expectations, to have low expectations regarding matter, to put a dent in something, to barely to barely be able to do something, to hardly be able to do something, to nearly almost do something, to carry something out, to put into action, in fact, to draw attention to admit defeat, to save face, to lose face, to be out of touch with reality, qualities in approach to fill in the blanks, to fill up the tank, to run on empty, because of, to have an eye ear, to have an eye for something, to have an ear for something, to take a shot at something without regard for difference of opinion, conflict of interest, to be attentive to details, for sale, for rent, in of use, out of use, to fear inferior of at the moment, living situation at war with, what to, in of focus, out of focus, in need of the ability to move on. It's the matter of in of shape, out of shape, to stay in shape, to be accepted at, to resist temptation, sometimes I wonder, to live in fear of, there's no reason that to assert authority, to have authority over, it's not a big deal if full time job, part-time job, to interview for a job, to be represented by, to be a symbol of, to compare something with, to agree on an issue, to go on a trip, to see the best team, to to give into under pressure for the best, for the rest of the time, to go abroad, a change of plans, in the military, in a good mood, in a bad mood, to work for, to get inspiration from, to make a recording, to end up, to wish for, to hope for, to push for something, to face adversity, hearing loss, to make something official, proportionate to escape unharmed, to get away from over my dead body, to have good standing, to get alone by the time, to keep a secret, to test one's luck, to be available for, on guard for, at least at the supper of the moment, on the spot, disregarded for, take out food, to work through a problem up for grabs on a basis only for the conditions only for only on the condition that to put effort into something like that, not only but also it on its own merit, out with the old, in with the new, to be to be compensated for, to spend the night, to stay with somebody, to be such, to make something a priority, to give a speech, to have an impact, to render somebody speechless. A shining example of to be meet in the middle, set in one's way, to right a wrong, to get even with somebody, one thing left to do, out of to refresh one's memory, to turn up the volume, to turn down the volume, a wide variety of you don't belong here, to bring back to life at a high point, at a low point, one on one sound, for personal gain, to come for the to come to the surface, for life, for good, banned, to starve to death, dying of thirst, to take an exam, to pass the test, to pass the test, to stay in school per hour, per day, by the week, by the month, to vanish without a trace, to be prone to for one sound down, for one sound down, to see the to see the point of something, a firm believer in, to set a good example, to set something in stone, a change of heart, to get one's foot in the door, to feel dizzy, to feel drowsy at sea, on land, to get seasick up in the air, to have second thoughts about something, to breathe a sigh of relief, to breathe a sigh of relief, to gasp for air, to take the lead, to lead somebody on, to not know any better right now just a minute ago, as hard as one know, to enjoy on vacation, to be busy doing something. It's up to you to drive over the speed limit, to drive under the speed limit, to get pulled over by the police, to get arrested, to not have a penny to one's name, to stay awake, to stay up late, to get up early on time, to hold the door in anticipation of. What do you make of something? What do you make of this? One of life's lesson. One step at a time, all at once, little by little, at a glance, at first glance, to make excuses, to show respect in the mail, to put to the side, on the side, to have a good manners, to have a bad manners, to mind one's own business, a preconvenienced notion before it's too late, to see a pattern, to recognize a pattern, to see a trend, to recognize a trend, to be in chaos, to bring order, to trouble somebody for something, to agree to do something, to go back on one's word, to turn someone in the law and order, to keep the peace, to become obvious that to wish something on somebody, to have legal troubles, to be held responsible, to be a big fan, to convenience somebody off in the street, out in the cold, in the sun, in the shade, in the snow. What is going on in traffic, in a traffic jam, to get a rid out, to who knows, to get on, to get off, to take some to take time off, leave of absence on call, to tie one's shoe, all the way to the whole time, to be missing an attempt at figure of speech, to take pride in, to be proud of, to manage to do something, a good night's sleep, a night of drinking, to be up all night, a hard day's work, to find out for oneself, to find out that, to be far along, a bundle of, to sympathize with, to go shopping, to hunting, to go fishing, to need a break. I can't tell if I can tell whether to be obsessed with the idea that, the notion that, to show one's appreciation, to be skilled in, to be trained for, to be trained at, to be thankful for, to be obedient to to be confused about, to be out of breath, to condemn somebody for, to say harsh word, to bite the bullet and a snide remark, to increase productivity and unlikely scenario, to have free time, to surrender to something in memory of, to be getting late, to be getting cold, to warm up, to cool off, to be freezing, to have hard feeling about something, to breed contempt, to have contempt for all things considered, to be better off, to commit a crime, to swear an oath, to keep a promise, to break a promise, a means to do something, to come up with the money, to feel like doing something, a misguided effort, to keep a clean house, to be brutally honest, to hurt somebody's feeling, apology accepted, to drag one's feet out and about, never mind, to complain about something and odds with somebody, to beat the odds on the coast, to go through customs, to make drama, a healthy environment, to protect the environment, to calm down, to consider every possibility, to calm one's nerves, to be satisfied with, to conduct an interview, to take something for granted, to be amused by something to an end, back and forth to no end, to let something happen, to get over something, to stand in the way of progress, work in the progress, in the process of, in the middle of, to remind somebody of something, a particular place and time, to come to the aid, to come to the assistance of, to come to the rescue, to refresh one's memory, a lack of common sense, to make a good impression on somebody, to make a bad impression on somebody, compare to compare in comparison with, to have an advantage over somebody, first impression of, to have power over in public, to get in the way, to take shots, to be certain of something, to be admit fault, to have a fight, to hold something against somebody, to treat somebody's like, to treat something like, to be different from, thanks to, because of, to take a nap on top of, to wait in line over and over, it's a tie, to have the right of way on the fence, in search of, in pursuit of, in the past, in the present day and age, prove a point, to prove one's worth. It's a case of the right amount. It is beyond all understanding, by a full of just in time for, to pick somebody up, to hand in work, to hand something out, to do chorus, to shoot at somebody, to shoot at something, to be in hurry, to yell at somebody, to scream at somebody out loud, to let a noise, to knock on a door, to keep something in mind, to keep somebody in mind, a waste of time, to know how to spy on somebody, to shed light on something. How often to demand restitution in court, on trial, to lower one's standard, a sip of, a, a bite of, to repair damage, a giant, to be critical of, to go to bed, to get up in the morning, the answer to promise, to on display the meaning of something, to be mean to somebody, to treat somebody with kindness, to treat somebody with cruelty, to give an explanation, to owe somebody a favor, to lock oneself out for the love of, to go in the direction of, in your turn, it's your turn, to get rid of something, to deprive somebody of something, to beg for forgiveness, to keep quiet, to be upset about something, to play in band, the opportunity to interact with, to inform somebody about, to be allowed to be eager to be eagerly waiting something, to do something about, but to do something, but to have good social skill, to have bad social skills, to be knowledgeable about, to be skilled at, to take somebody hostage to a day of work, to sign up for something, to make fun of something, to run out of time, the rhyme, time is running out to be able for to make comments about in of context out of context to make up for lost time. To make up for lost time, it's a change of scenery, lose one's train of thought. The majority of to make up for lost time, to have good intention, to have bad intentions, to culminate to come to culminate in, to have patience for, to suffer for, to kick somebody in the body part, to kick somebody in the, to kick somebody, to punch somebody in the, to drop off, to drop somebody off at in the wild instead of to apologize for the duration of to talk on the phone, to talk on the phone, to be angry with somebody in good taste, in bad taste, to have a good taste, to say something without thinking, without giving a thought to think somebody, to think something through, to react to something, to react to somebody on one's knees, on foot in good health, in bad health, to go barefoot, a sense of decency. It is a sign that to be opposed to back then, in a nutshell, to lay down one's life, to lay down one's life, to be plagued by guilt, to be a metaphor for to climb trees, to climb up a land, sea, land dwelling animals, sea dwelling animal, forest dwelling animals, to jump up, to jump off a building, to jump off a bridge, to go to a meeting in a war zone, to height of something, to width of something, to length of something. Measurement wide long at the night, at the height of an empire, at the height of an age. What color is as punishment, to spend money on, to have the potential to have potential for, to to wreak havoc on, to come up with a plan, to come up with devise a plan, to lift weights, to share something with somebody at all, not at all, to suffer the consequences of X heritage. Example Scottish, to be honest with someone, with oneself, to step outside for some fresh air, to follow one's instincts, to devote oneself to step aside, to dampen somebody spirits, to make the prediction that to spend one's life doing something on the verge of. The thing is, it depends on to look forward to, at the thought of, to pride oneself in, at to pride oneself on, to lose consequent consciousness, to knock somebody unconscious, to lead a life, to flip a coin, to roll the dice, to proceed with caution, a stack of, a pile of, a deck of cards, a play cards at will, at random, on command, at a loss, in a state of, in crisis, to perform surgery, to perform a play, a work for art, go on a rampage, to throw a party, to throw a tan- tantrum, temper tantrum. I welcome the opportunity to accept a challenge, to accept the challenge, a set off to play pool, to play chess, to play darts, to play X ball, to swim laps, a jack of all trades by profession, to lend one's sport to plan on, to smell like for now on, to get straight to the point, to lose focus the main idea, to recommend something to somebody, to keep an on schedule, schedule, to gain weight, to lose weight, to have a preference for, I would rather I dress up as to win a prize, to get exercise, to make a connection between, to mix two things together of special interest, of to bring something to boil, to have an air of, a clump of, a wad of, resulting in, to set sail the high seas, to force somebody to be suspected of, to catch somebody off guard, in hindsight, in hindsight, well disciplined, to have no discipline, in slow motion, to be kicked out of expelled from, to be kicked out of, expelled from, to get fired, to be open minded, to be closed minded, to be disappointed by, to make something at face value from what I can tell, to be caught in a vicious circle, to pollute the environment, to contribute to something but kind of is X, in off tune, out of tune, to sign, to sing off key, to apply for a job, a positive environment, a negative environment, to be considerate, act considerately toward, to care about something, the way of the world, to play an instrument, to strum on, to have talent, to be mindful of, to make a transition, to invite somebody to get a flat tire, to have a spare, to have a extra, to step on the accelerator.
Okay, it's you have read it finally, and thank you very much for reading this for me.